see her mother murdered. Made her who she was.
She became an advocate for victims of domestic violence.
She's like, I'm not going to ever let this happen again.
But instead, she also met a horrific end.
They saw what looked like a head.
We don't know if it's body parts.
I just chopped this girl up.
What kind of an animal does that?
All the signs point to domestic violence.
This was a crime of passion.
You are going to look at the boyfriend.
He was very obsessive with her.
Those red flags definitely can escalate.
Or was her death collateral damage?
It was just in her nature to try to help.
There was a domestic dispute that got physical.
Her friend is trapped.
Screaming.
August 24th, 2018. It's a sunny Friday morning in the Bronx, New York City's northernmost borough, and home to landmarks like Yankee Stadium and the Bronx Zoo.
People were enjoying themselves. It had been a little rainy a few days before, so people were just getting out.
Many of them are heading a few blocks south of the zoo to Crotona Park.
This is one of the biggest parks in the Bronx. You got kids playing.
And Parks Department employees are working hard to keep things clean.
They were going around picking up trash when one of them noticed a couple of bags dumped on the side of the road.
Which would not seem like a big deal in a park. There's trash bags all the time.
But when the park worker investigates, it's soon obvious she's dealing with more than just illegal dumping.
She went over to the bag and opened it, and inside saw what looked like a head.
She immediately calls 911.
911, where's emergency?
I'm calling from the Parks Department, Crotona Park South and Franklin Avenue. We need PD because we have two big plastic bags and with hair in it, so we don't know if it's body parts.
Hey, go ahead, back up.
Police came, they opened the bag, they saw there was some body parts inside.
The victim appears to be a young Hispanic female.
The body's decomposing. They couldn't identify who this person was.
NYPD 8713. Start Major Crimes are our location. We've got a deceased Hispanic female, 20s to 30s. Check and see if you have an arm.
But when the officers ask dispatch to run a missing persons check, they get a tentative hit.
A Bronx woman had just been reported missing by her family 2 days earlier.
Got one hit, a 25-year-old, Lisa Marie Velasquez.
Lisa Marie Velasquez had known a lot of tragedy in her young life.
When she was 12 years old, she was in an apartment with her mother and two younger siblings when her mother's ex-boyfriend broke into the apartment.
The ex-boyfriend had stabbed and killed her mom in front of Lisa and her siblings.
Just to know that the kids witnessed this, it devastates me. No child should endure this. They still have their nightmares.
But Lisa never let her childhood trauma limit her.
After her mother's murder, Lisa and her siblings moved in with their grandmother.
Grandma was at that stage that she had just retired. So Lisa had to take the role of mother, father, and everything in between.
Both of her younger siblings were also special needs, which added to Lisa's level of responsibility.
It was difficult. When Lisa would talk to me about it, she used to cry. She goes, I don't know what to do. I'm lost.
But Lisa never gave up on the people she loved.
Lisa was a loving, a nurturing, a giving person. If you was in her heart and she loved you, she would have died for you.
Her mother's tragic death also triggered a deep commitment to protecting others.
She wanted to work and help with people in the community. She became like an advocate for victims of domestic violence.
She volunteered here all over the place, and I'm like, this child is amazing.
She's a remarkable, beautiful young human being who will just give everything to the world.
and she hoped to turn that dedication to service into a career.
She was in the ROTC. She was in the cadets.
She wanted to become a cop.
That's the brotherhood, sisterhood. People wrap their arms around you. They teach you to protect yourself.
But the memory of her mother's death also led Lisa to keep people at arm's length.
Lisa tended to always be very guarded in her relationships.
How'd it go with Chris the other night?
Girl, I canceled on him last minute.
Okay. Yeah.
It took a while for me to break down those walls that she felt comfortable enough to talk to me.
That was especially true when it came to men.
Lisa always had different boyfriends.
But she was reluctant to commit.
His vibe shifted. I don't know. It was off. I was not feeling it.
She was always go with the vibe. So if your vibe was great, that's how, you had a chance.
And there was one man whose vibes broke through the barriers Lisa built around her. Antonio Wagner.
Hey, excuse me. Is anyone sitting here?
No, actually. Please, take the seat.
Thank you.
He adored Lisa, and he was very attentive to her.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
They did love each other.
Lisa was like, I'm moving out my grandmother's house. I'm moving in with my boyfriend.
It looked like she was finally starting to put her past trauma behind her.
But now, it looks as if she may have suffered an even more gruesome fate than her mother.
Police believe the dismembered remains discovered in Crotona Park could be Lisa.
When somebody's dismembered, you have a super messy crime scene.
But despite the horror she suffered after death, there's no disguising how she died.
Her skull showed signs of severe blunt force trauma.
This was not like a robbery where somebody, just shot or stabbed.
The killer went through the trouble of cutting up her body.
What kind of an animal does that?
This was, in criminology terms, a crime of passion.
After witnessing her mother's murder as a child, 25-year-old Lisa Marie Velasquez had devoted her life to helping others escape a similar fate.
She was physically present, but she couldn't do anything. She was a 12-year-old girl cowering. So now, in her mind, she's like, I'm not going to ever let this happen again.
She always mentioned how it was very important to always be there for friends.
She's a loving person, and she was just giving her all.
But now New York police believe they've found her dismembered body in the Bronx.
A maintenance worker found a body dumped in Crotona Park.
They knew this was a young female Hispanic.
And Lisa's family had reported her missing 48 hours earlier.
It will require an autopsy to determine if the remains are Lisa's. But there's little doubt how the woman died.
The woman's skull had suffered severe blunt force trauma.
Usually when you have a victim that has been murdered in such a horrific way, there is a heavy investment from the person that did it. It is typically someone that knows the person. It's a personal thing.
But can the detectives identify the killer?
At that point, they didn't even know where the murder occurred.
But there's other evidence that's always left behind. When you're stuffing body parts in a bag, fiber from your hair, your clothing, that's going in there. There's tons and tons of other things that are left behind as clues.
Detectives have the bags and body parts removed from the crime scene for forensic analysis and autopsy.
They took the bags out. They brought the bags to the medical examiner.
So now the forensics team can go ahead and do their job.
Then detectives conduct a quick canvass of the onlookers.
Since it was a pretty, busy day in the park, people started congregating over to see what's going on.
But while there are plenty of people in the park that day, the detectives come up empty-handed.
No one saw anyone dropping off the garbage bags, which led police to believe they were dumped overnight.
With no leads from the scene, the detectives pay a visit to Lisa's aunt, who'd filed the initial missing persons report.
Police want to talk to people who knew the victim.
Hi, are you Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
I need to ask you a few questions.
The detective, when she showed me her card that it said homicide, I knew.
Oh, God.
She confirms that she had been the one to report Lisa missing.
When was the last time you saw her?
Tuesday, we spent the whole day together.
We went window shopping, went into the Chinese restaurant, then we went back to the front of our building. We have handball courts, swings, and all of that. So we played a little bit of handball. We spent that whole day together from 9 o'clock in the morning, I think it was 8 something in the evening. The best day we've had. The best day we've had.
Lisa and her grandmother lived in the same building as her aunt, on one of the upper floors.
She was gonna go upstairs to take a shower, and that was the last I saw of her.
It wasn't until the next morning that she knew something was wrong.
Lisa normally calls me between 6:30 and 7 on the dot because I'm downstairs by 7. And we would meet, we would sit in front of the building and have coffee. This was for the last 2.5 years, every single day. For some reason, I didn't hear from her. So I know something was up.
Lisa wasn't answering her phone either.
But I still hadn't heard from Lisa that whole day. The following day, I go upstairs and Lisa was nowhere to be found.
Her grandmother hadn't seen or heard from her either.
She said that it was very unlike her because she was a very, very responsible person, and when she didn't get in touch, they reported her missing.
When detectives head upstairs to talk to Lisa's grandmother, she also says she last saw Lisa on Tuesday night.
When she got home, she took a shower and went to bed.
But then, at around midnight, someone had called her.
She started packing some stuff, ran out saying she had to go help a friend. Lisa had a friend, Sierra Martinez. It's somebody she met when she was in school.
She only said good things about Sierra.
She says it's Sierra's boyfriend that's the problem.
And Lisa has told me that he beat Sierra.
According to Lisa Marie Velasquez's family, the 25-year-old rushed out of her grandmother's apartment in the early morning hours of August 22nd to help a friend in need.
The family believed that the friend that she had gone to help was 30-year-old Sierra Martinez.
It would be just like Lisa to go running to help Sierra.
She was always there for her.
She would help even a stranger to no end.
But had her determination to help a friend cost Lisa her life?
A maintenance worker discovered the dismembered remains of a young woman in Crotona Park.
The torso and the head were found, and it was very, very hot, and the body was decomposing.
Confirming that it was Lisa would require dental records or DNA.
And while waiting for the medical examiner to establish the victim's identity, the investigation continues.
Police started to try and find out, well, where did she go that night when she ran out of the house at midnight?
So you think she went to Sierra's house?
I know she did.
But Lisa never came home, so her aunt reported her missing.
You think Sierra's boyfriend had something to do with this?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I kept telling her, stop getting in everything, Lisa. You can't save the world.
Or could there be another explanation?
When you do have a murder like this, typically it would be somebody that is either a spouse, significant other, or boyfriend.
Was Lisa seeing anyone?
Yeah, she was dating a guy named Antonio Wagner.
They were living with each other about a month or two, give or take.
But things didn't last.
They had an argument at some point that he threw her out, and she never went back.
Threw her out, like, physically?
No, it wasn't like that.
It wasn't a violent relationship, but they had their arguments.
Still, Lisa's aunt says she was happy when the relationship ended.
He's very obsessive with her. Like, he wanted to know where she was at 24 hours a day. He's calling 20 times a day.
The individual definitely has some anger management issues, potentially some narcissistic personality traits.
Okay. Well, that's all for now. We're going to follow up on this and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, ladies.
That may or may not mean that Antonio is their killer. But when the detectives get the results of the autopsy, one thing is certain.
The medical examiner identified the body as belonging to Lisa Marie Velasquez.
The autopsy also adds additional details about how she died.
She was hit over the head more than a dozen times with probably a hammer.
Then, once Lisa was dead, the killer had dismembered her body.
According to the medical examiner, the cuts were rough with ragged edges, indicating a large blade or a cleaver was used.
That's not dismembered with a little knife. That had to be something like a sword, machete, or something else.
When details of the murder appear in the local media, the news hits the community hard.
Well, it does have a psychological impact in the community because this case was quite shocking.
But no one is more shocked than Lisa's friends.
That was one of the worst days of my life. I was checking through social media, and that's when I found out that Lisa was murdered. I couldn't believe it.
Lionel told me that Lisa's dead. I paused. Like, everything literally just stopped. I just couldn't breathe. I fell into a very, very dark place. I really broke down and I cried.
And there is one friend of Lisa's that the detectives definitely want to talk to. Sierra Martinez.
According to Lisa's family, she was heading to Sierra's apartment on the night she went missing.
She got a call from Sierra, who was very upset, and Lisa, being the friend that she was, just ran out of the house and went to her friend's aid.
At the apartment, they find Sierra struggling to deal with the news that her friend is dead.
Yeah, I heard that it was her. I can't believe it.
Well, we were told that she came to see you the night she disappeared.
Yeah, she did come by.
She said that, oh yeah, Lisa was here.
She also said she'd known Lisa for a long time.
They both went for their GED together, and afterwards they became friends. In fact, at one point they were gonna get an apartment together.
But then she'd met her boyfriend, Daquan Wheeler.
She started dating him. She had a child with him, so instead of moving in with Lisa, she moved in with Daquan.
Lisa's family says that you and Daquan have been having issues.
Yeah, that's why Lisa came over on Tuesday.
She admitted that she was fighting with Daquan.
Sierra said that her and Daquan were working different shifts and had been arguing about dividing the responsibilities around their daughter.
So you called her?
Yeah, she's, like a good mediator, talking things out.
Although, according to Sierra, Daquan was in no mood to talk.
And you know what? Another thing about you, man, like, I just don't understand. Why are you like this?
I'm just trying to take care of our daughter, and you're not trying to be a good dad.
I'm always a good dad. I pay for everything. You do nothing.
What does that mean?
It means everything. What are you talking about?
Hey, it's me.
Why'd you call her?
So she can help.
No, so she can take your side, right? All right, look, man, I can't do this. Y'all have it. Have a good day. I'm done. Bye. Out.
She said that rather than talk things over, Daquan had stormed out.
Oh my gosh, sweetie, what was that all about?
And then everything settled down.
Sierra said since it was so late, she even invited Lisa to spend the night.
But Sierra says Lisa didn't stay long.
She said Lisa had spent the next hour or so on her phone.
She was calling a few friends, texting friends to get money.
I would have given her some, but I'm just as broke as she is.
But then, after an hour of messaging...
Ooh, I got some.
All of a sudden, she said, oh, I got some money.
Did she say where she was going?
No.
Sierra thought she was going to meet the person who was giving her the money.
But she didn't mention any names.
All right, hey, I gotta go.
She just ran out of the apartment.
Lisa Velasquez's friend, Sierra Martinez, has just told NYPD detectives that the 25-year-old had dashed out of her apartment the morning she disappeared.
According to Sierra, Lisa spent the previous hour calling around, texting to see if she could get someone to loan her some cash.
She said, all right, someone's going to give me some money. I'm going to get out of here. And she just left.
And that was the last time you saw her?
Yeah.
She says her boyfriend, Daquan Wheeler, came home a little later.
And then Sierra said, she just spent the night with Daquan.
So now the question is, where did Lisa go? Hoping for answers, the detectives subpoena Lisa's cell phone records.
According to Sierra, she had been calling and texting people looking for money. So it shouldn't be that hard to track down.
Then, while waiting to hear back from Lisa's cell phone provider, the detectives bring in her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Antonio.
They especially wanted to talk to Antonio because Lisa's family said he was controlling.
He was very obsessive with her. He wouldn't let her breathe. So I would tell her he was no good for her.
But does that mean Antonio is her killer?
Antonio, we need to ask you some questions about Lisa.
Is she some kind of trouble?
When they brought him in, they broke the news to him that Lisa was dead.
What?
He was shocked, very upset.
When was the last time you saw her?
Just last weekend.
Contrary to what Lisa's aunt told them, Antonio told the detectives that their on and off relationship was very much currently on.
So you didn't see her Tuesday night, though?
Early Wednesday morning?
No, but I did hear from her.
He said he received a text from her saying that she was on her way, she was in a cab, and then another text right after saying, oh, sorry, wrong number.
Detectives suspect that text might have been meant for Sierra, or possibly the person who agreed to loan her money.
He said he tried to call her that morning, couldn't get in touch, she didn't answer the phone.
That didn't seem unusual to you?
A little.
You didn't want to check up on her?
Not really. I figured she'd get back to me eventually.
He really didn't know her friends or her family to call them to see what's going on with her, so he was sort of like just waiting to hear back from her.
However, Antonio says there was one way he could check up on her.
He said they shared an account on a money transfer app. He even let the detectives look at the Cash App on his phone.
They saw that she had gotten money that night from a Corey Drake.
Does that name mean anything to you?
No.
Whoever Corey was, Antonio said he'd sent Lisa $100.
They were asking him, was this sort of common? And he said, look, she never really talked to me about money. She never asked for money, so he didn't really question how she got money. That was the relationship they had.
At least that's what Antonio claims. But the detectives aren't so sure.
The detectives at that point were a little suspicious. Is Antonio jealous that some guy is giving his girlfriend money? Like, it's the motive?
Because according to Lisa's aunt, Antonio had very serious control and trust issues.
But Antonio insists that he's telling the truth.
The detectives again pressed Antonio on whether he had seen Lisa that night.
Antonio said he was home sleeping.
But he also lived alone, so there was no one who could confirm what he was saying.
He really didn't have any alibi.
After talking to Antonio, the detectives subpoena his cell phone data to see if they can verify his whereabouts on the morning of the murder.
They especially wanted to know if he ended up anywhere near Crotona Park.
You are going to look at the boyfriend, okay? You're going to look at somebody that's very close to the victim. You have to investigate that.
However, Antonio isn't the only person they're investigating.
They were also trying to reach out to see who this Corey Drake was and why he was giving Lisa money.
Could it have something to do with her death?
Or is it possible Corey and Antonio are both dead ends?
While the police were trying to figure out who this Corey Drake was who gave Lisa the money, Sierra Martinez walks back into the precinct.
And what she has to say will take the investigation in an entirely different direction.
She tells detectives that she wasn't totally honest.
Sierra Martinez has just told detectives investigating the murder of her friend, Lisa Velasquez, that she wasn't entirely upfront with them the first time they spoke.
She admitted that she was afraid to talk to them the first time.
What were you afraid of?
Daquan?
The detectives sensed they could be on the verge of a breakthrough.
Lisa's family said that she had gone to Sierra and Daquan's apartment on the night she disappeared because Sierra was being abused by Daquan.
But in her initial interview with detectives, Sierra had downplayed Daquan's abuse.
All she said was that they had been arguing.
Now Sierra admits that's not the whole truth.
Sierra, does he hit you?
Yes. Especially since the baby's been born.
Sierra said that Lisa encouraged her to leave Daquan.
But you haven't left him?
I couldn't.
Her friend feels trapped. She has a child with this man.
But Lisa never gave up on her.
Lisa was always there for you whenever you needed her.
Lisa told me that if I ever needed her help, I can call her. So that's what I did. Daquan is actually continuing.
She said that she had called Lisa that night because she was fighting with Daquan.
She was being a good friend, and all that comes into play in terms of how she grew up. And now, in her mind, she's like, I'm not going to ever let this happen again. This is my best friend.
And like a true friend, Lisa had come through.
She was very upset, so Lisa came over to help her.
And once again, Sierra says that Daquan had stormed out. Although this time she says he took their little girl with him.
Daquan left with the baby, and it was just her and Lisa in the apartment.
We gotta call the cops.
He was so mad when he left. I was afraid he'd do something to her.
Sierra says that the police had come to the apartment.
Police were able to get in touch with Daquan. They called him. He said the child's all right, and they determined that there was no crime committed since he was the father.
And the officers left soon after.
Oh my gosh, sweetie. You gonna be okay?
Everything else pretty much happened like I told you guys.
Sierra said she asked Lisa to stay, but Lisa ended up leaving to go get money from someone.
I ended up staying up and watching TV.
And by the time Daquan returned a few hours later, things had calmed down.
Daquan had left their daughter with a friend.
Sierra says she and Daquan spent the next couple of hours talking things through and eventually made up.
But now she has a nagging sense that there is something Daquan is not telling her.
Sierra basically told detectives that, she thought Daquan had something to do with Lisa's murder.
What makes you think that?
Because he left and he was so mad.
All right, Sierra, thanks for coming in. I'll follow up on that.
But while Sierra is suspicious, the detectives aren't so sure.
Sierra might just be trying to get Daquan in trouble.
Still, after talking to Sierra, the detectives bring Daquan in for questioning.
He vehemently denied that he had anything to do with her murder.
Listen, I don't have any idea what Sierra's talking about.
He said after he left the apartment, he went to stay with a friend.
I felt bad about what was going on, so I left the baby with my friend. I came home and, me and Sierra, we worked it out.
When detectives follow up with Daquan's friend, she confirms what he told detectives.
She said Daquan showed up with his child between 3 and 4 a.m., stayed a couple of hours.
And when the detectives tracked down the call Sierra said they made to the police, that checks out too.
My name is Lisa Marie Velasquez. The reason why I am calling is to report a kidnapping.
They called the police because they were afraid about what was going to happen to the little girl.
There was a domestic dispute that got a little physical.
The records also show that wasn't the first domestic violence complaint originating from Sierra and Daquan's address.
Detectives found out that police were called to the couple's apartment on 4 previous occasions.
And as detectives dig into Sierra and Daquan's criminal histories, more red flags go up.
Detectives were surprised to find out that Daquan spent time in jail before.
Daquan was in jail for attempted murder.
And the details of his indictment seem relevant to Lisa's murder.
He tried to stab his intended victim with a sword.
They're thinking someone who a couple of years ago, was swinging a sword, stabbing someone, and now they have a body that's dismembered.
And not just dismembered. According to the autopsy, hacked apart with a large blade.
Convinced that Daquan had some involvement in Lisa's murder and that Sierra knows more than she's letting on, the detectives bring her in for another round of questioning.
But she sticks to her story, saying Lisa left the apartment after someone sent her some money.
She took a phone with her and everything.
But the detectives keep applying pressure.
All we want is the truth.
Okay. 80% of what I told you is true. This is when it gets interesting, and I'm willing to take the steps and procedures to get her justice.
The light bulbs went off. She doesn't want to go down with Daquan.
Eventually, Sierra breaks down.
Sierra said Lisa did get money from a friend, but admitted it was just somebody paying her back, and that she made up the story about her leaving the apartment.
It's late. Just stay. Sure, I can crash here.
She's like, that's what I'm here for. I'm not going over here.
Sierra said that Lisa had also convinced her to take out an order of protection against Daquan.
She was going to go really quick the next day.
So, according to Sierra, Lisa had gone to bed and she had taken a shower.
Meanwhile, after leaving their daughter with a friend, Daquan returns to the apartment.
He went and dropped her off and came right back.
And according to Sierra, it walked into the bathroom with a hammer.
He comes in, he didn't even say nothing, he whips out the hammer.
Daquan! What are you doing?
I'm screaming.
Sierra said her screams brought Lisa running into the bathroom.
He's trying to kill me! What is it?
When she fully turned around, he clubbed her. I don't understand. I guess I never will. Because this is a nightmare I'm not going to wake up from. She was young. She had her whole life ahead of her. God knows what she could have became in this society. How many other people she could have helped. Does her siblings really need her? Her siblings are lost without her.
Questioned by NYPD detectives investigating Lisa Velasquez's murder, Sierra Martinez has just revealed that her boyfriend, Daquan Wheeler, bludgeoned the 25-year-old to death with a hammer.
On her head? And you hit her with what, the hammer?
One time.
Okay,
One
so what?
good time.
Okay.
And she dropped.
Sierra says she dropped to the floor alongside Lisa and tried to protect her friend.
I was like, stop, 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 stop.
No, stop, let me go.
She said, let me call for help, let me take her to the hospital. And Daquan told her to be quiet, he screamed at her, and then he just repeatedly kept hitting her in the head.
I'm hearing it. I'm covering my ears. I'm praying, begging. What you doing, Daquan? This is the truth. Eventually, she just stopped moving.
Once Lisa was dead, Sierra says Daquan forced her to help him drag Lisa's body back to the bathroom.
Get up, hurry up.
Daquan said, if you don't help me, I'll kill you and the baby.
Then, with Lisa in the tub, they cleaned up the blood.
Daquan took all his clothes, all Sierra's clothes, everything that had blood on them, and put it in bags.
He also grabbed all of Lisa's personal things and the hammer and put those in the bags too.
He then left the apartment with Sierra. They threw the bags out, and then they went to the store.
They bought more bags and a machete, then brought them back to the apartment.
That's when Daquan started to dismember Lisa's body.
Once again, according to Sierra, it was all Daquan's doing.
What he was doing was inhumane. That's what it was.
Then they loaded everything into Daquan's work van and disposed of the evidence in various spots around the city.
They dumped 2 of the bags in Crotona Park and the rest in another park by the pier.
It's a chilling statement. But is it true?
The detectives locate the rest of Lisa's remains where Sierra indicated.
They also get a warrant to search the couple's apartment.
They were able to find, blood splatter stains throughout the apartment.
Then they bring Daquan in for another round of questioning.
Once in the interrogation room, he denied any involvement in Lisa's murder.
I didn't do anything.
He told police that it was Sierra who did all this.
Lisa told her that I was on a dating app, and I wasn't.
He said Sierra became enraged and killed her friend.
He also claimed that Sierra had single-handedly dismembered the body and disposed of it.
So she cleaned before?
She cleaned before I came back to the house.
Came back to the house.
Did you see anything?
I didn't see anything.
It was so outrageous and so unbelievable that they knew they had the killer.
The detectives placed Daquan under arrest for murder.
They also arrested Sierra.
But in the end, the prosecutors allow Sierra to plead guilty to conspiracy.
They wanted to have Sierra testify, which is why they gave her the deal that they gave her.
They feel that Daquan had coerced her in helping to dispose of the body.
She was in fear of him. I mean, that's why she called Lisa that night.
When Daquan goes on trial in April of 2022, Sierra is the prosecution's key witness.
But when it's the defense's turn, Daquan continues to put all of the blame on Sierra.
That was a joke. Sierra was small. There ain't no way that Sierra will actually do that alone.
That really set me off. I wanted to go over that chair and make him pay for what he did to her.
And in the end, Daquan does pay.
He was convicted of second-degree murder.
He's sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 27 years.
That's hardly enough to those who loved Lisa.
You mean to tell me, so after 27 years, there's a chance you might get out? They say life in prison. Where's life?
He's still breathing. He might be getting his behind kicked every now and then, but he's still alive.
And then, adding insult to injury, Sierra receives credit for time served and is released.
When he hit her the first time, okay, you were scared, I get it. But she could have done something.
It's not enough. As far as Sierra, she deserved time. I don't care. You were sick too.
She risked her whole life for you, and then I just chopped this girl up. I'm not satisfied.
Still, for the many people whose lives she touched, Lisa's memory remains an inspiration.
In her short life, she was trying to make a difference. She didn't give up, trying to better herself and better the people around her.
Every day she's thought of, I want people to remember her as a genuine good.
This program documents actual homicide investigations. Criminal charges are often dropped or reduced, and all suspects shown are presumed innocent unless proven guilty. This program documents actual homicide investigations. Criminal charges are often dropped or reduced, and all suspects shown are presumed innocent unless proven guilty.
She was a college senior with a bright future ahead of her.
My sister, she had a beautiful soul. She had a zest for life.
She was one of a kind.
Everybody just adored her.
But then she vanished.
Anitra, you home?
Nobody could reach her.
It's going to voicemail.
They just have that gut feeling.
We just kept praying that she was okay.
The investigation will uncover a disturbing pattern.
Somebody had busted out her windows.
She did. Told her out there I got crazy kid.
He had been stalking her.
You can baby killers.
And it was no idle threat.
This young man was broken.
He's a monster. He watched her die.
Do you think this is funny?
I knew then the devil is real.
Is home to over 2,000 undergraduates.
It's well regarded in the area. It produces some talented students every year.
But on this Valentine's Day, one of those students, 22-year-old Anitra Gunn, is nowhere to be found.
Anitra was her dad's princess, so naturally, her father reached out to her on the morning of Valentine's Day to wish his princess happy Valentine's Day.
Hi, you reached Anitra. I'm not able to come to the phone.
He's unable to reach his daughter. He calls, no answer. He texts, no answer.
He got really concerned.
Leave a message and I'll call you back.
Hey, this is your dad again. Call me when you get this.
It isn't like Anitra to be out of touch.
Anitra lost her mom very young, and Mr. Gunn raised her essentially by himself. They had a very close relationship. They talked, if not daily, every other day.
The fact that Anitra did not get back in touch with him made him feel like something was going on.
Often as parents, we have a gut feeling if something isn't right.
His worry growing, Anitra's father reaches out to her boyfriend, DeMarcus Little.
Anitra's father contacted DeMarcus to ask if he'd seen Anitra.
Hello? DeMarcus Little was a soldier at Fort Gordon, which was a couple of hours away from Fort Valley.
Maybe Anitra had gone to see him for Valentine's Day. Or maybe they had gone somewhere together.
But DeMarcus says no. He hasn't seen or heard from Anitra either.
In fact, I was about to call you because she's not picking up her phone.
The level of worry and concern and alarm skyrocketed for Anitra's dad.
He knew something was up.
It seems like she just vanished into thin air.
Anitra Gunn was the glue that held her family together.
Anitra played the role as the peacemaker. She was just a humble person.
Anitra was our mediator. If people in the family was arguing, she would call like, hey, you know, what's going on and why? And, well, you know how this person is. She made sure family stayed family.
It's like instantly just hearing her voice like gives you a calming spirit, a light in the midst of darkness. That's how I kind of felt like she was.
And there had been plenty of darkness in Anitra's life.
Her mother died in a car accident when Anitra was a teenager.
After the tragedy, Anitra and her siblings had to rely on one another.
We always had each other back, but I also believe that once our mother passed, me, my brother, and my sister became even closer because we was all we had to get through this, because it was the first time that a close death had happened to us. And so we shared that bond with each other, knowing that we've been through a lot.
But Anitra's closest bond was with her father.
After my sister passed him, they moved with their father to Atlanta. He had to step up as a father. He did. He stepped in and he was like, now it's time for me to do what I got to do for my children now because they only have me.
With her father and siblings' loving support, Anitra managed to move past the tragedy and finish high school.
She was very popular. She always been, very kind and outgoing.
She just always had high spirits and positive energy.
Anitra was also an amazing singer.
She had a voice of an angel. She was always singing.
Any type of song, any gospel song, anything like that, she could sing it.
But animals were her true love.
She was extremely passionate about animals.
Dog side the road, wounded. A cat side the road, wounded. She take him in.
It was her love of animals that brought her to Fort Valley.
She wanted to go where she could specialize in something that she loved.
She dreamed of becoming a veterinarian.
Fort Valley State was the perfect place for her.
At Fort Valley, the aspiring vet proved just as popular as she had been in high school.
She was definitely the life of the party.
And it was at a party in 2019 that she met DeMarcus Little.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm DeMarcus.
Okay. DeMarcus, my name is Anitra. There was an instant attraction there. So, what's your major here?
Oh, I'm not a student. I'm in the Army.
Oh, you're in the Army.
Yes, ma'am.
She was very excited about him because he was in the military, so he had something going for himself. He had lost his mother too, so they connected on that level.
From that night on, DeMarcus and Anitra began a long-distance romance.
He was stationed in Augusta, Georgia.
They were texting and calling and texting and calling all the time.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
And he came to see her in Fort Valley whenever he could get leave.
His family lived there. He had a room at his aunt's place.
They spent the better part of a year kind of going back and forth, getting closer.
But now on Valentine's Day of 2020, Anitra has failed to return any of her father's calls.
He waited and waited and waited. Anitra did not get back in touch with him.
When he called DeMarcus, he said Anitra wasn't returning his calls either.
Desperate to find his daughter, Anitra's father makes another call.
He reached out to her landlord to see if he could check to see if she was okay.
The landlord went over to the rental house and let himself in with his key.
Everything seemed normal. He didn't see any signs of struggle or breaking and entering.
However, the landlord does notice something out of place.
Anitra had a dog, and it was just roaming free in the home.
Where's your mommy?
This is very unusual.
Normally, when she would leave the house, she would put her dog in the crate while she was gone.
And so he knew that something wasn't right.
"22-year-old Anitra Gunn was on the path she'd always dreamed of.
She was studying agriculture at Fort Valley State University, the first step to becoming a veterinarian.
She'd also found love with a 24-year-old soldier named DeMarcus Little.
He was really looking forward to creating something committed with Anitra.
But now, Anitra has mysteriously disappeared.
Her dad had been unable to reach her.
Anitra's father asked the landlord to go by the home and see if everything was okay.
There was no sign of Anitra, but the dog was not in the crate that she always put it in when she left home.
Something was amiss.
No.
Alerted by her landlord, Anitra's father calls the police.
It's a very common thing, especially around finals time or spring break. We'd get 4 or 5 phone calls of parents who hadn't heard from their children.
When officers arrive, the landlord lets them into the home, but they don't see any cause for alarm.
They didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
The police figure it was just a case of miscommunication.
But by the next morning, February 15th, there's still no word from Anitra, and her father decides to take matters into his own hands.
Anitra!
He decided to drive down to Fort Valley, Georgia, about 100 miles outside of Atlanta, with her brother to go and check for himself what exactly was going on.
They get there and goes to her house, knocks on the door.
Anitra, you home?
There's no answer. Her car is not in the driveway.
Unsure of what else to do, he decides to call Anitra's boyfriend DeMarcus a second time.
No, she's not. Hey, so this is...
DeMarcus was in town on leave.
I'm gonna go to the police station.
He shows up worried about what might have happened to her.
While Anitra's father heads to the station to file a missing persons report, DeMarcus and Anitra's brother set out to search for her.
They will start driving around town, trying to look for her car.
Once at the station, Anitra's dad brings the police up to speed.
He explained that she still wasn't answering her phone.
All night last night, wrong 3 or 4 times. Now it's going to voicemail.
But as Anitra's father is talking to the police, DeMarcus calls to say that they found her car.
They located her vehicle 2 blocks from her residence.
Tell them don't touch anything on it, okay?
Then the police drive to where DeMarcus and Anitra's brother are waiting with the car.
The bumper was ripped off. There was a lot of debris around it that wasn't from that area.
Inside the car, the police find Anitra's purse.
They found her wallet, and it had money in it and her credit cards. The only thing that was missing was her cell phone.
Hoping to learn more about Anitra, the police turn to DeMarcus.
You the boyfriend?
The ex.
DeMarcus explained that he and Anitra were in a bit of an on-again, off-again relationship.
Y'all not together. You just still mess with each other.
He also says that they ran into each other the night before Valentine's Day.
We had went to a party Thursday night.
They danced, they talked, they went out to Waffle House to eat with their friends until like 2 o'clock in the morning.
We was good. We went to Waffle House and everything. We were straight.
In fact, DeMarcus says things had gone so well that he and Anitra ended up in bed together.
We came to my aunt's house and did what we did. And we woke up next morning just talking.
But he says that at around 11 o'clock that morning, Anitra had left.
Call me later, right?
Yeah, I'll, after my interview, okay?
All right.
And she left, said she had to go to an interview. So she left and she sent me a text at 11:53.
Can you show me?
After questioning DeMarcus, police have Anitra's car towed in for processing and then follow up with DeMarcus's aunt to verify his account.
She corroborated DeMarcus's story.
His aunt saw them when she got home from work.
About what time was that?
Probably like 3:35.
She's a nurse and works late.
I saw the security light on. I saw somebody standing at the door. And when I opened the door, it was Anitra was standing in front of him and he was behind her.
She says that when she left the next morning, Anitra's car was still parked outside.
It was parked next to my husband.
When she returned home in the afternoon, Anitra's car was no longer there.
Based on what DeMarcus and his aunt said, it seems like they may not have been the last people to see Anitra.
Back at the station and hoping for a lead on who Anitra could have been in contact with after leaving DeMarcus's, police follow up with the other friend she'd been hanging out with the night before she disappeared.
Her friends had confirmed that they were all together at a party and then went out for some late-night food afterwards.
They said that everything seemed fine between DeMarcus and Anitra, too.
However, Anitra's friends also add another angle to the mystery.
Anitra was dating another gentleman by the name of Scoot. There was maybe a love triangle type of situation.
learned that the missing college student was seeing another man in addition to her on-again, off-again boyfriend, DeMarcus Little.
Anitra wasn't in an exclusive relationship with DeMarcus.
As police are interviewing family, friends, there is a name that continues to come up.
His name is Franklin Jennings.
Everyone around Fort Valley State knew him as Scoot.
Once they've identified Scoot, detectives bring him in for an interview.
They want to know what was the scope of his relationship with Anitra.
According to Scoot, there really wasn't much to tell.
I wouldn't really say a relationship.
He was just a friend, somebody who would come over and they would just chill, watch movies.
But they were, at least on one occasion, friends with benefits.
He does admit to the police that they were intimate one time.
But it ain't nothing. She told me that it ain't nothing.
Anitra decided to friend zone him, if you will, and he was okay with that.
And he denies seeing Anitra on Valentine's Day.
Face to face, I haven't seen Anitra since when.
However, Scoot said that Anitra did send him a text that morning.
I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna show y'all. Right now, 8:11, I did. I'm gonna come to your house.
There were several text messages he got the morning after Anitra was last seen.
He thought that kind of odd because they were just friends, they were just kicking it, he didn't have plans with her for Valentine's Day.
Scoot says he called Anitra to see what was up.
I called like 3 times.
Leave a message and I'll call you back.
His calls kept going into voicemail. Then Anitra texted him back saying, I can't talk right now.
Then Scoot says he got another text.
We can't be each other anymore. It was on like that.
He thought that that was extremely strange.
He began to put it all together.
There's somebody that I know what they're talking about, so we been friends.
He became suspicious that those text messages may not have been sent by her.
And Scoot suspects he may have glimpsed the person sending the texts.
He said he was outside when he was supposedly texting Anitra, and he saw a car that he didn't recognize circling the neighborhood.
Every time I get a text, it's like I see him off over there.
It was kind of in tandem with the weird text messages he was getting.
Scoot says he had eventually decided to confront whoever was behind the strange texts.
He messaged Anitra's phone back and said, I don't know what you all got going on, but I'm not the one to play with.
After that, he noticed the text messages stopped and the car stopped circling around his neighborhood.
According to Scoot, it was only one of the many strange things that happened in the month or so that he'd been hanging out with Anitra.
There had been an incident that had occurred a week and a half prior to Valentine's Day.
She tells him that her tires on her car were slashed and her home was vandalized.
A brick was thrown through her window.
I asked all that school, if you be with some girls, so there's girls, so land tires and I got windows. And she was like, no.
According to Scoot, Anitra had a pretty good idea who was behind it.
She just throw it out there and got crazy head, you know.
But she didn't specify which ex it might have been.
Suspecting the angry ex may have escalated things further, detectives decide to reach back out to Anitra's friends.
They hoped one of them could identify which ex she was referring to.
The police asked them, do they know of anyone that might have a vendetta against Anitra? Anybody that might be interested in getting revenge against her?
They find out about another ex-boyfriend.
His name is Zavion Johnson.
This was an ex that Anitra dated a while back.
This ex-boyfriend had been stalking her.
According to Anitra's friends, it got so bad that Anitra took out a restraining order.
Have just learned that an ex-boyfriend named Zavion Johnson had been stalking the 22-year-old college student.
He had been stalking her to the point that she had to get a restraining order against him.
He didn't really know how to fall back and let go and just let things be. So she got really scared about that.
Had she been right to be scared?
Police are thinking, did he have something to do with her disappearance?
When the detectives talk to Xavion, he denies having anything to do with Anitra vanishing.
Why don't you tell us what you know about Anitra?
I heard she was missing, but I don't know anything about that.
He also denied slashing her tires or breaking the windows in her apartment.
Look, I know I acted like a fool when we broke up.
He was kind of following her around campus, being a bit menacing.
But Xavion says he wised up after the restraining order and finally moved on.
I got a new girl now.
In fact, he claimed he spent Valentine's Day with her.
When detectives follow up on his alibi, it appears to check out.
Xavion's new girlfriend said he had spent the entire day with her.
His alibi being solid, the police kind of, stepped back and began to explore some other possibilities.
Thanks.
While the police regroup, word of Anitra's disappearance spreads on campus and throughout the small community of Fort Valley.
The Fort Valley community was very involved in helping us look for Anitra. They organized their own searches. They were there for us emotionally.
As the family holds on to hope of finding Anitra, one of her best friends reaches out to detectives and urges them to take a closer look at DeMarcus.
She painted a toxic, overbearing, abusive relationship that was totally different than the picture DeMarcus painted.
They have a history of very violent stuff.
It was a side of the relationship that Anitra's family had never seen.
I did notice that they were having quite a few arguments and disagreements. I did not know that they were physically putting their hands on each other.
She was telling me how he used to choke her, he used to just slam her and all that.
She was commenting on the fact that he was very physically aggressive with her. And that's a red flag.
And Anitra's friend feared that DeMarcus had done far worse.
He used to threaten to kill her sometimes.
Her friend said that she urged Anitra to stay away from DeMarcus.
But she says Anitra had a hard time letting him go.
Because she said, oh, he's so toxic, but she likes the fact that anything she wants, she can get from him. She has so much control over him.
It's enough to leave detectives wondering if Anitra and DeMarcus's pre-Valentine's hookup had taken a disastrous turn.
In my experience, and I've been doing this almost 30 years now, if the last person to see somebody is someone that they've had a tumultuous, volatile, then all that combined really made him stand out.
Police knew they were on the right track.
Everything, at least in my mind, pointed back to Mr. Little.
It wasn't looking good for DeMarcus, but detectives can arrest someone based on a hunch.
Hoping that someone has the evidence they need to make an arrest, the police make a public appeal for information.
Police often rely on informants of all kinds to help them in their investigations. They have a tipster line, of course. They oftentimes give rewards for giving any tips that might lead to the arrest of a culprit.
The hotline is swamped with calls.
This case was one of the largest and most high-profile missing person cases in the history of Middle Georgia. So it had gotten a lot of attention.
However, the calls fail to generate any leads.
Nobody really had any pertinent information that could lead us one way or the other.
Everything was just rumors, street talk, and speculation.
Until they get one call that's different.
This anonymous tipster had a lot of detailed information that was not released to the public.
You could tell just like there was something there.
Yeah, let me put you on speaker real quick.
If his story is true, it confirms much of what police already suspect.
He says DeMarcus told him exactly what happened.
received a phone tip from a man who says he knows what happened to the missing college student.
The tipster agreed to speak with the police directly.
Once at the station, he starts by explaining that he and DeMarcus go way back.
This tipster was actually a longtime childhood friend of DeMarcus.
He said 2 days after Anitra went missing, DeMarcus texted him and said he needed to talk.
You know, I thought he was just upset that she was gone.
He says that when he met up with DeMarcus, that seemed to be where the conversation was heading.
DeMarcus told him that on the morning of Valentine's Day, he was really serious about getting back with Anitra.
Anitra and him were at his aunt's house. They had been intimate. It's Valentine's Day. DeMarcus professes his love to Anitra, pours his heart out.
I know we've only been hanging out a few times since, you know, the obvious, but I think we should really think about getting back together. I mean, we've been hanging out recently, and I just can't deny that we have a connection, like, serious connection, you know, and it just feels so right when we are together.
But according to the informant, DeMarcus didn't get the response he'd hoped for.
Please, okay? Not this morning.
She laughed at him.
She was not interested in being exclusive with DeMarcus.
So what did he do?
He just lost it.
He becomes enraged.
You
think this is funny?
Marcus, I'm not saying it's funny. I'm just saying
It's not.
it's just always emotional with you.
Because I'm emotional when I'm with you.
Right, and you want a relationship, and I'm not really interested in that right now, okay?
Seriously? Why not?
Because
together, you know that!
God, calm down, DeMarcus.
He strikes Anitra.
What's wrong with you? What are you doing? Stop!
This is funny? You think this is funny?
First, he hit her, and then he ended up strangling Anitra.
This is somebody he had just professed to loving. Now he's killing her?
Almost always, strangulation is a crime of passion. Shooting somebody can be impersonal, but when you strangle somebody, you have to be looking them in the eye.
Most people don't realize how long it takes to actually strangle somebody. It can be anywhere between a minute to as long as 6 or 7 minutes. That's a long time to watch the life come out of that person's body.
And as DeMarcus's rage subsided, he came to realize what he'd done. Then, rather than call the police, DeMarcus's friend says he had come up with a plan to hide her body.
DeMarcus had confessed that he had placed her in the trunk of her vehicle and dropped her off deep into the woods.
Said he drove so far up in the woods, they got hung up a tree. He lost his bumper.
In the process of that, the bumper came off of the vehicle.
Do you know where that was?
He told me, kinda.
Not far from Anitra's home on Greer Road is where the tipster tells police that DeMarcus dumped her body.
After the interview, detectives head out to the location he indicated.
There was a pine thicket that she was left in. There was a trail that had all these saplings that had been run over.
They follow tracks that lead them right to this makeshift grave.
It was covered with all kind of leaves and limbs.
And that's why they find Anitra's body.
Detectives have little doubt they found the missing college student.
It's February, so even in Georgia, it's fairly cold out. So the state of her body was fairly pristine given the circumstances.
However, they still needed the medical examiner to confirm the identity.
Police take Anitra's body to the medical examiner.
Then they make the difficult call to Anitra's family.
We got a call and they said they need us to come to the police station because They were looking for DNA.
It became real. It became real. And we knew it was her. We knew it was her.
My mama received the phone call and she was like, they found her, but she was gone. I've never felt the same since.
The DNA analysis confirms what everyone fears.
They found Anitra's body.
The autopsy also reveals how she died.
That examination showed that, in fact, Anitra had been strangled to death.
It was exactly what DeMarcus's friend had told detectives.
However, it isn't quite enough to charge DeMarcus with murder.
So far, their entire case hinges on their informant's word.
There wasn't a whole lot of physical evidence. It wasn't like blood spatter because she was choked to death.
Hoping to tie DeMarcus to the patch of woods where they found Anitra's body, the detectives subpoena his phone records.
If you have an Android phone, Google tracks everywhere you go. And all I have to do is send Google a search warrant and I can find everywhere you've been.
And that was certainly true in DeMarcus's case.
His phone was in the woods where the body was for approximately 2 hours.
Detectives have uncovered cell phone evidence that places DeMarcus Little at the location where they recovered his ex-girlfriend Anitra Gunn's dead body.
According to the data, he was at the remote location only a few hours after she was last seen alive.
This is a heavily wooded area out in the middle of nowhere. There was no reason for anybody to be there.
That cell phone data implicated DeMarcus, and police knew they had their killer.
However, that's not all the cell phone records tell the detectives.
Law enforcement were able to get DeMarcus's cell phone text records, and they saw this pattern of these very abusive text messages.
I have seen far too many times where females and males as well have been in these relationships where they're constantly being talked down to. They're constantly, being told they're worthless or things of that nature.
Eventually, Anitra had had enough.
She was talking about how she wanted out of the relationship. This wasn't working. They needed to go their separate ways.
Detectives suspect it was Anitra's desire to end things with DeMarcus that caused him to end her life.
It's the classic, if I can't have you, no one can scenario.
Convinced they've identified Anitra's killer, the detectives bring him in for another round of questioning.
So I guess you heard Anitra's body was found.
Yeah. It's just awful.
At this point, detectives are trying to confront DeMarcus with what they knew.
Someone told us you guys have been having problems. That you slashed your tires, broke her window.
Yeah, that was me.
He admitted to throwing the brick through the window.
According to DeMarcus, it was pure jealousy.
About 2 weeks prior, Mr. Little made a surprise visit down to Fort Valley. And Miss Gunn was actually on a date watching a movie with the guy she was seeing there in town. And he threw a brick through the window.
But that's all I did.
I don't believe you, DeMarcus.
I told Mr. Little I thought he did it. And he swore up and down he didn't.
I would have never hurt Anitra. She was everything to me.
He kept referring to Anitra as his soulmate and how much he loved her.
But that doesn't stop the detectives from placing him under arrest.
He was charged with felony murder, malice murder, and aggravated assault.
In the state of Georgia, there are 2 separate ways to commit murder. Malice murder, which is with malice and a forethought, or felony murder, in which you committed a felony which resulted in somebody's death.
It's essentially the same as first and second degree.
Informed of the arrest, Anitra's family is angered by the depths of DeMarcus's betrayal.
He had been messaging me, I love your sister. I will never do anything to hurt her. I'm looking for her just as much as you guys are. Anything I find out, I'll be sure to let you know. So I was definitely disappointed and angry.
Anitra's family wanted justice. They wanted DeMarcus to pay.
But when DeMarcus goes on trial in March of 2022, will justice prevail?
There is very little physical evidence that DeMarcus actually committed that crime.
Without his cell phone data, we never would have been able to prosecute this case.
The prosecutors rely heavily on those cell records as they lay out their case.
Those cell tower records nailed him because the cell tower records showed him at the exact location where her body was located.
When it's the defense's turn, they rely on one witness, DeMarcus.
He took the stand saying that he did not commit this crime.
He's emphatic, he's defiant, he's insistent that he did not kill Anitra.
He kept professing how much he loved her and what she meant to him.
He told the prosecution, "You're trying to make me out to be a monster."
Him taking the stand, he was trying to personalize himself and let the jury see that I'm a human being too.
But if that was DeMarcus's objective, he failed.
His demeanor was very cold, just cold, staring straight ahead.
He didn't even look us in our face. The whole time he's sitting on the stand, he couldn't even look at us.
He didn't care how we felt. He didn't care what had happened to her. And if he did, he never showed signs of it.
When they put her up on the screen and he did not blink his eye, I knew then, the devil is real. Because he never changed his expression on his face.
DeMarcus's testimony does little to sway the jury.
The jury came back in 2 hours.
They find DeMarcus Little guilty of felony murder.
However, the jury doesn't find him guilty of malice murder.
The jury determined that he was not guilty of malice murder because it was more of a spur of the moment. She's laughing at me, she hurt my feelings, and now I'm overwhelmed with emotion, with grief, with anger, with resentment.
The judge sentences him to life without parole.
Best news I ever heard in my entire life is when she gave him life without parole.
I felt relieved. I felt so happy.
But is it really justice?
This family will have to live life with this big gaping wound forever. DeMarcus will be in prison serving a life sentence forever. Those are not the same experience.
I know God makes no mistakes, but you can get phone calls in jail. You can't get phone calls from heaven. It's not fair that we have to wake up every day and try to remain calm and knowing that it's something that's going to stick with us for the rest of our life. It just wasn't fair for him to do that and then just not care at all, like not even one bit.
He never expressed remorse.
He was a narcissist. He didn't care about anybody but himself.
He saw women as a toy, as something that he could possess.
In the aftermath of Anitra's tragic death, her family hopes her story can serve as a warning to others.
A week after Anitra trial, a young lady called me and she was telling me about a situation that her friend daughter was going through with the same thing that Anitra was going through. And she was like, "What do you think I should do?" And I immediately like, do what's gonna save that person's life. Don't worry about.
This program documents actual homicide investigations. Criminal charges are often dropped or reduced, and all suspects shown are presumed innocent unless proven guilty.
He was a young man with a bright future.
He loved to be creative, music, dancing, whatever. He and his girlfriend were expecting their first child. He loved her so much.
But she would be a single mother.
The neighbors heard her screaming. He's laying on the ground,
but he was bleeding from his chest.
Is it a neighborhood rivalry gone wrong?
There was something that was brewing. It was a ticking time bomb.
He had some run-ins with people.
It wasn't random.
It was a very volatile situation.
Or will the investigation uncover a web of deceit?
Something doesn't feel right.
Little things just didn't add up.
It was lie after lie after lie.
Until the truth finally comes out.
They're always arguing over there.
The downfall comes in the details.
You can't keep up with all the lies.
And then when you learn everything, it becomes more shocking.
This was just something that is so unfamiliar.
Something that rocks a community to its core.
July 20th, 2020. It's early Monday morning in Zion, Illinois. A quiet community of 25,000 an hour north of Chicago.
Zion is a little bit more rural. You can definitely see that suburban, quiet, picket fence kind of life.
There's a vibe of family when you come into town. It's close-knit.
You get that everybody knows everybody kind of feel.
But even in the quietest community, tragedy can strike.
Shortly before sunrise, a neighbor heard some loud screaming.
Waking up around 5 in the morning to screams definitely startled a lot of people.
Mama, wake up!
What's going on?
There are people screaming outside.
Okay, well, go on back to bed. I'll take care of it.
They look out the window and they see 3 people. One's laying on the ground and 2 people standing over him.
The neighbor quickly calls 911.
I was covering a midnight shift, and our dispatch sent for a report of a subject laying in the middle of the street.
When first responders arrive, they find 21-year-old Jacqueline Mora and her brother Carlos standing over another man who sprawled on the ground.
He was unresponsive, but he was bleeding from his chest.
Help him, please.
She's screaming, trying to figure out what's going on.
She's also obviously pregnant.
They're asking her what happened. She says she doesn't know.
However, she did identify the injured man as Gregory Gilmore.
He's my baby's father.
Gregory Gilmore wasn't exactly a stranger to local police.
When I started working in Zion in 2013, Gregory was a juvenile and getting into juvenile mischief and things like that.
His parents split up when he was younger, and Gregory spent his teenage years acting out.
But he'd eventually found a better outlet.
Gregory had a passion for music, and he wanted to use that gift to share with others.
Music gave him focus and a new sense of direction.
At this point, I had not really dealt with Gregory in a few years. So it was my understanding that he was turning things around, kind of moving on, kind of growing up and moving on with his life, kind of learning how to become an adult.
However, music wasn't his only passion. There was also Jacqueline.
Gregory was a good-looking guy and active in the local music scene. So there were always lots of women interested in him.
But that didn't matter because once he met Jacqueline, he knew that was his person.
Most people their age might be thinking about just dating and playing the field and not really being settled down. Yet the two of them found each other and chose each other.
Gregory brought the same passionate intensity he had for music to his relationship with Jacqueline.
Everybody knew that they were madly in love. You could see it. And he would do anything to make sure that their love lasted.
And it wouldn't be long before something put that commitment to the test.
As Jacqueline and Gregory's love story unfolds, that love grows into a child. They're pregnant.
Getting pregnant at such a young age, there's so many things to really consider.
But where some might see an obstacle, Gregory and Jacqueline saw opportunity.
Of course, they're nervous about the responsibilities ahead, but they couldn't be more excited.
They were both really looking forward to parenthood. They felt that their love could carry them through any challenge.
And by the summer of 2020, the young couple was looking forward to their baby's arrival.
Jacqueline was 7 months pregnant. Gregory was pretty excited about having his first child. That was a big thing. He was trying to plan his future to be a good dad and get things in order.
He had so much going for him.
What you got to say?
But now, after Jacqueline's screams alerted neighbors, police have arrived to find him lying on the street, covered in blood.
He had some type of large wound to his chest.
It was unclear if he'd been shot or stabbed.
But as the EMT gets to work, there's no doubt it's life-threatening.
With the location of it and the amount of blood that he appeared to be losing, it's critical at that point to get him from the street into that ambulance.
Then, as EMTs rush Gregory to the hospital, detectives arrive and try to piece together what happened.
It's really important when they get on the scene of this type of crime to speak to the witnesses.
Either of you see what happened?
No. Jacqueline told police she found him outside like this.
But Jacqueline does know someone who might have reason to hurt Gregory.
She said Gregory had beef with someone.
This person had possibly shot up a residence in the same area recently.
You think he may have done this?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
She doesn't know any details about him.
However, she does know one thing.
He goes by the name of Foe.
23-year-old Gregory Gilmore had a lot to look forward to in life.
He was starting to make a name for himself with his music.
And he was expecting a child with his girlfriend, 21-year-old Jacqueline Mora.
It just seemed like Gregory kind of had everything going for him at this point.
But now, Gregory's future is hanging in the balance.
Around 4:50 a.m. on July 20th, police got a 911 call reporting that a distraught woman was screaming for help.
When officers got there, they found a male laying in the street.
He was unresponsive and bleeding from a serious wound to his chest.
And they find a hysterical Jacqueline Mora standing over the love of her life.
While the police pulled Jacqueline and her brother Carlos aside, EMTs raced to save Gregory's life.
With the amount of blood loss at the scene, first responders know they needed to get Gregory to the hospital quickly.
As EMTs rushed Gregory to the hospital, detectives turned to Jacqueline to try and sort out what happened.
It was a typical night for Jacqueline and her boyfriend Gregory and her brother Carlos all hanging out together at Jacqueline's place.
What time was this?
Carlos went to bed around 4.
Around 4.
Her brother was living with her at the time.
According to Jacqueline, Gregory left not long after.
Was he walking, driving?
Driving.
She pointed to a vehicle that was outside and said that he was driving home.
But she says it wasn't long after Gregory walked out the door that she realized something was wrong.
She didn't hear Gregory's car starting.
She went and looked out of the window and saw Greg's car was still there.
Came out to check on her?
Yeah.
She thought maybe he was having engine trouble.
But the problem was much worse.
Greg! Oh my God!
She found him in the street.
Jacqueline went into shock.
He wasn't moving and there was blood everywhere.
She says she tried to drag him out of the street.
But then she noticed something.
There was a knife near Gregory.
I saw the knife and I picked it up and there was blood on it.
Where's the knife now?
I don't know. When I saw the blood, I dropped it.
Then she'd gone for help.
She goes inside and screams for her brother to wake up, and once they're both outside, Jacqueline loses it.
That's when the neighbor called 911.
You think someone was waiting outside and stabbed him?
Yeah.
And Jacqueline thinks she knows who it was, too.
Did you know anyone that may want to hurt him?
This guy Foe, they've been having arguments and fighting a lot.
She didn't know much else about him, only that he had some sort of beef with Gregory.
Jacqueline's brother Carlos seconds his sister's suspicion that Foe is likely responsible.
Do you know what the beef was about?
No, it's been going on for a while, though.
He also mentioned that Foe had supposedly shot up a house in the neighborhood a few days earlier.
He must have thought it was our house.
He thought Gregory had been the target.
But, like his sister, he didn't see what happened to Gregory.
He said that he had already gone to bed and was asleep when his sister came back to the house screaming.
The crime scene doesn't tell detectives much about the attack either.
There's a pool of blood, along with what looks like Gregory's keys.
Detectives also located the knife that Jacqueline mentions.
There was a knife in some tall grass that was kind of adjacent to the curb.
While crime scene technicians bag the knife and keys as evidence, the detectives go door to door in the surrounding area looking for potential witnesses.
As part of the initial investigation, we'll do what's called a neighborhood canvass.
And they want to talk to neighbors, anybody who may have heard anything, who may have been driving by.
The detectives don't get far before they spot what could be the key to uncovering what happened.
The neighbor had surveillance cameras mounted on their house.
Maybe it corroborates Jacqueline's story. Maybe we capture the killer.
Hoping that's the case, the detectives knock on the neighbor's door.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sorry to bother you. We see you have a surveillance camera over there.
When we're trying to get cooperation from neighbors, sometimes it can be difficult because they have to live in this community and they don't want any backlash.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can take a look at the footage.
However, Jacqueline's neighbor is willing to share the video with detectives.
I wouldn't know how to access it. I have to ask my kid.
Okay, well, could you give us a call as soon as you can access it?
Yes, of course.
He's an older gentleman, and his son's the one who set up the system.
Detectives leave the neighbor a card and ask him to get in touch as soon as he gets a hold of his son. Then they move on to the next house.
Police come across a woman who says that she is the one who actually made that 911 call.
Could you tell us what you saw?
Actually, I was asleep, and my son, he woke me up saying that he heard somebody screaming outside.
She says she didn't witness the stabbing.
She got up and looked outside and saw Gregory lying down. She saw Carlos and she saw Jacqueline screaming for help.
Still, the detectives do ask the woman to bring her son down to the station later for a formal statement.
The kid is only 11, but detectives wanted to know if he saw anything before he woke up his mother.
If he did, it might be the key to solving the case, because he might be the detectives' only eyewitness.
Once they wrap up their canvass, detectives got an update on Gregory.
This is Richards.
I was notified by the hospital that he had not made it.
This case is now a homicide.
He didn't make it.
Detectives investigating the early morning stabbing that sent 23-year-old Gregory Gilmore to the hospital have just learned that they're now investigating a homicide.
They learned that Gregory sadly lost his life due to those injuries.
Detectives have identified one possible suspect, though. A man who, according to Gregory's girlfriend Jacqueline, goes by the name of Foe.
Gregory had some sort of dispute going on with this person.
Although at this point, detectives are unsure if Foe is his real name or if it's a street name.
The detectives hope that Jacqueline and her brother Carlos, who've been escorted to the precinct, can shed more light on the matter.
We knew these were the two people that were on scene and that were last with Gregory. So they needed a formal question.
When the detectives sit down with Jacqueline, she walks them back through the moments leading up to the murder.
She said they had been hanging out at her house. Gregory left, and when she didn't hear his car start, she went outside and found him bleeding in the street.
Greg?
And this Foe guy. Anything else you can tell us about him?
Not really. I never met the man.
But she knew he had beef with Greg.
That's what Greg said.
Getting nowhere, the detectives turned their questions to Jacqueline and Gregory's relationship.
As a matter of procedure, they needed to rule out Jacqueline and her brother as possible suspects.
But what are supposed to be routine questions take an unexpected turn.
She's starting to say that the relationship was a little bit tumultuous.
What do you mean exactly?
He has a hard time controlling himself when he got mad.
Jacqueline confides that their relationship was sometimes abusive.
You ever call the police?
No.
She didn't feel like pressing charges because she loved Gregory. And not only that, he was the father of her child.
And she never considered ending the relationship.
She said she didn't want to lose what she had with him, the good times they had together. She'd hoped that eventually they could work through their problems.
But now, the detectives wonder if those hopes had taken a tragic turn.
This could be a case of self-defense.
He put hands on you last night?
No.
She stuck to her initial story that she found Gregory, laying in the roadway.
When the detectives move on to Carlos, he again backs up his sister's story.
Carlos's version of what happened pretty much mirrored what Jacqueline told police.
But you didn't see what happened?
No, I already gone to bed.
Carlos tells police she came and got him. She was hysterical. Something happened to Gregory. He goes outside and Gregory's on the ground, lying there, a pool of blood.
Carlos also confirms much of what his sister said about Gregory's alleged abuse.
He believed that Jacqueline and Gregory sometimes had a rough relationship.
You ever see him get violent?
Nah, he wouldn't try anything around me.
He said that he spoke to Gregory saying, "Don't harm my sister."
And he listened?
Yeah, we were cool.
Carlos got along with Gregory, but as a protective brother, he knew that anything that happened in their relationship, he was going to stand by his sister.
And this guy, Foe, he was beefing with. Anything more you can tell us about that?
Nah, all I know is what I heard.
After taking Jacqueline and Carlos's statements, the detectives do a record search, hoping to identify the mysterious Foe.
They're looking for any incidents involving Gregory that might give them a lead on his identity.
They come up empty-handed.
There was no indication that Gregory had any ongoing disputes with anyone or that he had been the target of any violent crimes recently at all.
There's also no trace of anyone who goes by Foe, even as a street name.
Although, if it is a street name, it might not show up in police records.
The records search a bust. The detectives contact Gregory's family, hoping they might know something about the alleged killer.
When police contact Gregory's family,
Hello?
they are in utter disbelief. They can't believe that something's happened to him. He was a great spirit throughout the community. He got along with everyone.
Are you sure about that? We heard he was having trouble with a guy named Foe.
The detectives asked if they knew about this Foe character that maybe had it out for Gregory, but the family has no idea who this person is.
There's no one that they could think of who would want to harm him. He didn't have trouble with the law. He didn't have run-ins with the bad crowd or anything.
According to the family, there was only one source of trouble in Gregory's life: Jacqueline.
They've witnessed arguments. They've witnessed physical contact.
However, there's one big difference.
The family tells officers that Jacqueline was the aggressive one.
She had been physically violent with him.
How aggressive?
Are we talking violent?
Yeah, sometimes.
They say if anyone had the ability to do this to Gregory, it's Jacqueline.
Gregory Gilmore's father has told the detectives investigating his murder that the 23-year-old had a troubled relationship with Jacqueline Mora, the mother of his unborn child.
However, contrary to what Jacqueline told the police, Gregory's father claims that she was the abusive one.
You actually witnessed this abuse from Jacqueline?
Yes.
Talking physical abuse?
Yes.
They said that this is something that they have witnessed themselves. They've witnessed arguments, they've witnessed physical contact.
We learned that Jacqueline and Gregory had had some incidents in the past, some incidents of domestic violence, as recently as a month or so before this tragedy occurred.
I seen her hit him and push him around.
There is a prevailing narrative that men can't be abused. A lot of times we have a situation to where if a man says, I'm being abused, someone is hitting me, we're treated differently. But honestly, even in the justice system, a lot of times it seems like there's more of a burden that men have to prove to show that they're being abused.
Our society assumes that men can always take care of themselves, and therefore that means that they're not hurt or victimized, although that's absolutely not true.
Domestic abuse is mostly talked about when the victim is a woman, but men are also victims. They're also survivors. They also need help. They need assistance.
One altercation Gregory's father witnessed was even disturbingly similar to the way his son was killed.
Gregory's family told us of an incident where she had stabbed him in the past that was never reported to police.
I stepped in and broke up the fight.
When was that?
About a year ago.
Greg's dad said he doesn't know what she would have done if he hadn't stepped in to break up the fight.
He had to go to the hospital to get treated, but he did not want to report that, and it was never documented anywhere.
After that, Gregory's parents had urged him to break things off with her, but he insisted that they could work things out.
I just wish you would have listened to me.
I'm sure you did everything you could.
Often in situations like this, family members will sometimes have guilt or shame or worry about, was there anything that I could do? Could I have helped? Could I have jumped in? Is there anything I could have said or done that could have changed the scenario?
Based on what they hear from Greg's dad, the detectives believe they now know how he died.
Jacqueline got angry again and took it a step further.
They're already hearing of all the reports of the arguments and lots of toxicity.
It would also explain why they can't find any trace of the mysterious foe who Jacqueline had offered up as Gregory's likely killer.
It seemed that that was just a story she made up to try and explain what may have happened to him.
The detectives hope there may be a way to prove that, too.
After detectives are done interviewing Gregory's family, they go to that initial 911 call. They contact the 11-year-old boy and his mother to try and see if he remembers any other details.
Witnesses, their memories may get worse as time goes on. So it's really important for officers to catch up with these individuals as soon as possible.
The fact that their witness is only 11 adds to the challenge.
When speaking with minors that witness a violent incident like this, you have to be very sensitive.
It's important that they don't ask questions in a way that can harm the child long term.
In the interview, the boy tells detectives he'd been in bed when he was woken up by the sound of shouting outside.
He described how he looked out the window and he saw a male and a female.
Do you know the people that were arguing next door?
Yeah, they're always arguing over there.
But this time was different.
It escalated to punches being thrown.
Or was it more than punches?
He saw the male fall.
And he said Gregory didn't get back up.
On one of Jacqueline Moore's neighbors has told the detectives investigating her boyfriend's murder what happened in the moments leading up to the 911 call.
It's the same thing over and over again, every single day. It's the same thing.
The boy heard a commotion outside. He looked out the window and he saw them fighting, and then Gregory falls on the ground.
He was able to point out Jacqueline as the female that was involved and Gregory as the male.
But there's something the little boy didn't see.
He doesn't recall seeing a knife. All he knows is that he saw them fighting and he saw Gregory fall.
That makes him concerned, and he wakes up his mother.
When your son woke you up, did he say anything about a weapon?
No, but when he came running into the room, I could tell he was scared.
She looked out and she knew something was wrong.
She saw Jacqueline, Carlos, and Gregory, but Gregory was laying down.
Could you see any blood?
No. But Jackie, she was screaming and Greg wasn't moving.
That's when she called 911.
I just still can't believe she killed him.
However, before they make an arrest, the detectives would still like to find evidence that puts the knife in Jacqueline's hand.
They know the prosecutors would like to build the case on more than just the 11-year-old's testimony.
So detectives hoped that the surveillance from the neighbor across the street could fill in the gaps from the child's story.
And luckily, when detectives reach out, the neighbor's son has been able to download the video.
The quality wasn't the best. It was very grainy, but you could see Jacqueline and Gregory getting into a physical altercation in the middle of the street. Then they kind of go off camera.
Then, a moment later, Greg staggers back into the camera's field of view.
He stumbles, and then they see him fall to the ground.
And he never gets up again.
The detectives suspect the actual stabbing occurred in those brief moments when Jacqueline and Gregory were off camera.
The camera doesn't lie. It shows exactly what happened. You can't put a spin on it.
But that can't stop someone from trying.
The police call Jacqueline back into the station and they tell her, hey, is anything you've left out?
I don't think so.
She stuck to her initial story. Gregory had come to her house, they were hanging out, and that eventually Gregory was gonna leave and she went back to doing what she was doing.
You're sure about that?
She was presented with that fact that there might be surveillance footage of what happened.
At that moment, she knew it was over.
Okay, we had a fight.
She started to just come clean about everything.
She said that they were inside hanging out and that her and Greg started to get into an argument.
But she claimed that it was Gregory who was angry and out of control.
So, where were you last night?
Nowhere?
Don't lie to me.
This is crazy. You always accusing me of something.
So I grabbed the knife.
She said she grabbed a knife because Gregory had been violent with her in the past.
She just wanted to protect herself.
She told Greg he needed to leave, and he walked outside.
But she also said that when Greg left, her dog had followed him out.
According to Jacqueline, that's when things escalated.
She heard one of her dogs yelp. She went outside and saw Gregory hitting one of her dogs. She told Gregory to stop.
And that's when the argument started all over again.
Don't you be hitting my dog!
Oh, you want me to hit something else?
She said that Greg made some threatening statements towards her and started walking at her.
It was a fatal mistake.
She says in that moment, she just acted with rage and emotions, and she admits that she stabbed Gregory in the chest.
And he tried to hit me. I'm so tired of it.
She didn't come out and completely say that she stabbed him in, quote, self-defense, but that was what she was alluding to.
She also says that she panicked once she saw Gregory on the ground with blood gushing from his chest.
She realized, oh my God, what did I do?
Then she went back inside and she told her brother what happened. He told her she needed to call the police.
Even though she didn't want to, he said that this was something that she had to do.
But Jacqueline says that when the time to tell the truth came, she couldn't.
She said she just couldn't follow his advice.
She makes up a story. She makes up a person that Gregory had some type of shady dealings with, and that person, Foe, was the one who actually did this to Gregory. All not true, all made up.
When someone does something and didn't really think it through, they have to figure out what kind of lies can I now come up with. And unfortunately, that snowballs, where often you can't keep up with all the lies.
Now the detectives need to figure out if she's still lying.
Part of Jacqueline's statement was that she felt threatened by Gregory. That's something that can be argued by a defendant. So it's critical to look into that and figure out, was there a history of abuse or not?
According to Jacqueline, the answer is yes.
Here, let me show you.
She says that she's got, evidence of marks on herself and things like that.
And she has it all saved on her phone.
Jacqueline Moore has confessed to stabbing her boyfriend, Gregory Gilmore, but claims she did it to protect herself.
Jacqueline told police that they've had domestic abuse in their relationship. She was a battered woman and she feared for her life.
Despite the credibility issues, the fact that Jacqueline was a woman that was 7 months pregnant definitely weighed in her favor.
She also claims to have proof that Gregory was abusive on her cell phone.
Phones can be a treasure trove of information for investigators.
Can we hold on to this so we can go through it?
Yeah, of course.
After talking to Jacqueline a second time, the detectives dig deeper into her story.
We obtained phone records, social media records, and downloaded cell phones, both belonging to Jacqueline and Gregory, to try to either confirm or deny her claims of this past abuse. Because if there wasn't, then that kind of negates that claim that she would have felt threatened by Gregory or she would have needed this knife to physically defend herself.
The records do back up at least some of Jacqueline's claims.
What it showed to me was a long, very volatile relationship between the two. There was very angry messages, accusatory messages, threatening messages, back and forth.
But there is also something conspicuously absent.
Despite what you told detectives, they can't find any photos of her with injuries.
I'd never found any evidence specifically that showed Gregory abusing her, but there was definitely videos and messages that showed Jacqueline being very antagonistic and threatening.
And once Jacqueline was pregnant, their already toxic relationship only got worse.
Adding a baby now to the mix, financially as well as emotionally, there's more responsibilities, and it can cause things to start to go awry.
It was a very volatile situation between the two of them, kind of a ticking time bomb.
And early on the morning of July 20th, it exploded.
At around 1:30 that morning, Gregory texted Jacqueline asking if he could come over.
They hung out and played video games with her brother.
But at some point, an argument ensued.
So where were you last night?
Nowhere.
Don't lie to me.
She kind of displayed a lack of emotional control.
And perhaps Gregory had finally had enough.
This is crazy. You're always accusing me of something.
There was indicators that this was going to continue to get worse and continue to escalate and continue to escalate.
You're always lying.
That's what the detectives believe happened in this case.
Based on their surveillance video, Gregory left, and Jacqueline followed him outside, clutching a knife.
Greg, don't you walk away from me! Stop!
Man.
Don't you? Why are you doing this to me?
It's the same thing every single day and over and over again. Man, stop touching me all the time, every single time. You're just crazy and paranoid.
think I'm crazy.
Yo, Jacqueline, what are you doing, Jacqueline?
I do believe this probably was a crime of, quote, passion, or she just reacted and stabbed him.
Then after lashing out, she immediately regretted what she'd done.
Greg, baby.
Jacqueline definitely showed some remorse. She did appear upset by what happened.
But that didn't stop her from trying to hide what she'd done.
She woke her brother Carlos up and asked him for his help.
Call the cops. We gotta call the cops.
No!
That's a tough spot to be in. Your sister has come to you in a panic. You've told her the right thing, and you're kind of standing back to see if she'll do it. And then she doesn't.
I do feel for Carlos' situation, and anybody put in a position to where you're encouraging your family member to do the right thing, but ultimately when they don't, you now have to make that decision. Are you gonna go along with what your family member is doing, or are you gonna tell the truth?
But will the detectives and the district attorney see it that way?
What he did by kind of going along with Jacqueline's story initially at the scene could be considered obstructive, but in this case, especially with her statement that he had told her to tell the truth, we just felt like it really wasn't in the best interest of justice to charge Carlos with a crime.
There's no such leniency towards Jacqueline.
Jacqueline was charged with first-degree murder.
But the case never goes to trial.
She took a plea deal to bring it down to second-degree murder.
The key difference between that and first degree is a lack of premeditation.
While she had followed Greg outside with a knife, they couldn't prove that she intended to stab him.
And if the case had gone to trial, there was always the possibility of acquittal.
People are used to women being the victims, right? So in a lot of people's minds, it's hard for them to be able to flip that and decide like, no, this 7-month pregnant woman was the actual abuser, the actual aggressor.
In exchange for her plea, the judge sentences Jacqueline to 15 years in prison.
First-degree murder, she would be looking at much stiffer penalties, maybe a 25 to life.
It's never enough. I don't care how many years it is, it's never enough because it's never gonna bring your loved one back. But in the end, she has to pay for what she did. Her actions resulted in the death of her child's father. And that's something she'll never be able to get away from. That's always gonna sit with her. And she'll have to explain that, unfortunately, to her child when that time comes.
And Gregory's entire family will feel the loss.
They'll never get to see Gregory again. They'll never get to spend holidays, birthdays, any type of special occasions with him again. They were robbed of growing old with Gregory.
He was only 23 years old. He had a whole life ahead of him.
He had so much going for him.